I'm Mike from Retro Boost, and today we're talking about the GameCube again. I did a video previously, actually multiple videos on this kind of thing, talking about like video enhancement devices like RetroTINK and CARBY, stuff like that for the GameCube. Did a whole big side-by-side video comparing the CARBY to the 2X Pro and 2X Pro M on varying content and different types of inputs to see how they compare. The 2X Pro definitely comes out on top, which makes sense because it's using a superior port on the back of the GameCube. The better your source is, the better the improved results going to be, naturally. So it made sense that CARBY pretty much came out on top. Although 2X Pro M really holds its own if you're feeding it component sources, which begs the question, if you had a component cable for the GameCube, you know, you'd probably get the same experience out of a 2X Pro M that you would the CARBY device. So interesting stuff to think about. But since I did those videos, the 5X Pro has since hit the scene. Now the RetroTINK 5X Pro is like a full-on video processor that takes signal sources and will output them by default to 1080p, which is a big jump from 480p, which is what the previous devices were all doing. I did a whole first impressions video and an updated video kind of talking about the 5X Pro and showing off what it can do with all the different game consoles I own. We're going to come back and focus on the GameCube today, though. We're going to do another comparison video of the 5X Pro and the CARBY to see how they look. And just like with the original version, I'm going to show like everything I possibly can. So we're going to show CARBY line doubling aside the 5X Pro, CARBY doing its native 480p output aside the 5X Pro, and then we'll also do a component comparison by having the CARBY go against a Wii playing a GameCube game. That way it can be output as 480p, go into the 5X Pro. So we'll get all those different kind of comparisons. The other thing to consider is that CARBY's like picture output is fundamentally different than the 5X Pro is. The 5X Pro, you can toggle between different output types like 4x3 or 16x9. For the most part, CARBY seems to want to default to 16x9. Even if I say not to do that, it still does on my TV. Using OBS, I can manually adjust it to a 4x3 aspect ratio, but since that isn't like natural for it like it is with the 5X Pro, we're going to do both. We'll show comparisons of it like as it normally is in a 16x9 format, and then also down to a 4x3 aspect ratio versus the 5X Pro. So every different type of thing can be seen side by side to come out of this the most informed possible. Another big consideration too is make sure that if you're looking into getting, say, the CARBY or similar devices, most, if not all of them, require that the GameCube have that special digital AV port on the back of it, which was used for component cables back in the past. If you don't have that, well then a RetroTINK device is a natural other alternative because that can just use regular analog. So let's check it out, see some side-by-sides. We'll do composite S video for the 5X Pro. And then we'll do the component video also. I'll mark when they're full screen versus not full screen, and then we'll come back and discuss our findings. As always too, I thank you very much for tuning in and watching. If you would consider subscribing, it's a great help for me to grow the channel. But regardless, thank you for tuning in. Let's check out all these comparisons.
Hello? Hello? Look at that!
Welcome to the sun-drenched tropical paradise of Isle Delfino. We're so pleased to welcome you to our beautiful home. Come enjoy a natural wonderland to which we've added the world's finest resort facilities, a spectacular amusement park, and succulent seafood. All this and more await you on Isle Delfino. Come relax and let us refresh your body and spirit.
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo! Look at that!
Welcome to the sun-drenched tropical paradise of Isle Delfino. We're so pleased to welcome you to our beautiful home. Come enjoy a natural wonderland to which we've added the world's finest resort facilities, a spectacular amusement park, and succulent seafood. All this and more await you on Isle Delfino. Come relax and let us refresh your body and spirit.
That shadow! Those were the juicy... White
Hello? Hmm? Hello? Hmm?
Well, what did we all think? Were we surprised? Were we not surprised? Did you think you saw what you think you were going to saw? Well, for me, it was a little bit of both. Naturally, CARBY is superior to, say, like, composite upscaling as it was before with the 2X Pro. So that didn't surprise me too much. I think CARBY gives you the better experience if your only other alternative was composite-based sources. That said, RetroTINK 5X Pro held its own pretty well with S-Video. That was pretty interesting. It wasn't bad. I mean, the bottom line is they both work, right? Like, neither one of these is like, one's good, one's bad. Like, nah, they're both great products. Similarly to how I ended the CARBY original comparison video with the 2X Pro, it's about what you own. If, like, literally all you have is a GameCube, well, something like the CARBY is a natural choice. If you have a large collection of multiple consoles, something like the 5X Pro or the 2X Pro M or 2X Pro, whatever makes the most sense for you, might be the better choice given how wide of a range of devices those enhancement devices can take, even like VHS content. Like, they can do a lot. The GameCube isn't one of the devices that, like, the 5X Pro is like making really pop. I would say Super Nintendo is probably the best experience I've had yet out of the 5X Pro's enhancement. Like, Ninja Turtles was like so awesome using this video. It's great. And I haven't even begun to like tap into using like alternative cables, like component cables by HD Retrovision, for example. I do plan on doing that, and then it can only get better. But anyway, bringing it back to this, CARBY definitely does a great job doing what it does. One thing that surprised me was the color differences when we compared Wii, because comparing the CARBY to the 2X Pro M, they were identical. Like, if I didn't mark it, it'd be easy to forget which one's which. There was like a subtle color difference, but it wasn't that grand. With this though, Metroid Prime 2 on the 5X Pro looked fuller. And it isn't because CARBY's set to like limited output or anything. They're both set to full. You can adjust CARBY's, but you really can't get it to that same depth that the RetroTINK's default was giving it, which is pretty interesting. So I would say point to the 5X Pro when it comes to component-based content like the Wii. That was the slightly superior experience for playing GameCube games that way. So, very interesting. They go back and forth. They're equal in some spots. I would say, for the most part, the CARBY is probably the best of the two for this purpose, but the 5X Pro, depending on how you're feeding it, can do a great job. S-Video is what I would strongly recommend for just the GameCube if you're doing that. If not, just straight up get the actual component cable for it if you can find them. They're very expensive though. Otherwise, CARBY is a great all-rounder. Just make sure that the console you get has the digital AV port, because if it doesn't, you're not going to be able to use devices like CARBY or the component cables. That said, those devices, that model is not hard to find. It's not like it's super rare or anything. I happened to have trouble finding it and thought that it was rare because of that. Turns out it's just my luck. So they're out there and you can find them, and the prices aren't terrible now. They've definitely gone up since. The one that I got it for like 80 bucks. They're trending for about 150 now online, so they've gone up, but it's still not out of like crazy territory. But anyway, there we go. Hope you found this informative and helpful and interesting. If you found it to be any of those things, feel free to subscribe and help me grow the channel. I do appreciate you watching regardless. We will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.